Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who likes it one sock up, one sock down, and always wears a headlamp in the bedroom. It's Greg. How are you today, Greg?
Okay. I'm a bit stiff and sore today, actually.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
Not Greg,
not for the reasons you just described, obviously.
As if what we're going to be talking about later on isn't problematic enough. You started off the last episode speaking about watching hardcore porn on Twitter, and now you're a bit stiff and sore.
By mistake. Not on purpose.
Okay.
I was surprised. I was as surprised as the next person who found hardcore pornography. On Twitter. The reason I'm a bit stiff and sore, so as you know, I've very recently taken up running, and historically, I'm not a runner. Historically, I'm not sporty at all. But especially with running, I've always hated it. Hated it. You know, if I was being chased by villains, zombies, a policeman, or a policewoman, I'd probably just give up and accept my fate rather than attempt to run away. But I have been trying to kind of get in shape over sort of this year, and I've been thinking about running, and I know that you're quite a keen runner. Our mutual friend is a keen runner also, so I thought that, you know, I need to get into this. Now it's going to sound like a pure cliche, but I was watching the London Marathon a few weeks ago, and the BBC were hawking their Couch to 5K app, so I thought, well, it's free, I'll give it a go. There was some good testimonials from people who were older than me saying how good it made them feel. So I thought, right, I'll have a go. So I chose, you can choose a coach, and I chose Steve Cram, the celebrated gold medal winning British, or rather English athlete. But it's getting hot, right? So as I'm running around the lake, I mean, I must strike a fucking pitiful figure. Dragging myself around the lake. Normally, the birds on the ground would fly away, right? But because I'm so fucking pathetic, even the birds don't bother flying away. Now, they're just on the ground.
Am I thinking like Spud in T2 when him and Renton go up Arthur's seat?
It's not a million miles removed from that. I mean, the good thing is that it's flat. I don't have to run up any hills. But yeah, even the tiny-brained birds that are on the ground know that I'm fucking absolutely no threat to them whatsoever as I run around. But when I'm not going to say I'm not enjoying it, because I am actually starting to enjoy it. And obviously it ramps up over the weeks. You know, you do a bit more running, a bit less walking, blah, blah, blah. And I was quite enjoying Steve Cram kind of coaching me and motivating me and whatnot. But as it's gotten harder, and I know that Steve Cram has not recorded that coaching thing, especially for me. I know that I'm just a paycheck to Steve Cram, right? That's all I am. But, you know, I keep getting in the spirit of it and whatnot. Last week I had to run for 16 minutes, right, without stopping. And it's 27 degrees in the morning here at the moment. And, you know, I got at the beginning of the program, Steve says things like, "You've done the most important thing by getting out the door. Well done." And kind of things along those lines, right? Which does make you feel good.
Is he the kid from Supergrant?
Yeah, well, maybe he was. But he's definitely from the northeast of England. And now, like, so last week, on Friday, I just ran for 16 minutes, and Steve's like, "In case you haven't realised, you're running for more minutes now than you're walking." And I'm thinking, I know that, Steve. I know that because I'm fucking hyperventilating beside a lake in Dubai. But yeah, no, it's been good. I feel quite good. I feel like I've taken a little bit of timber off as well, which was one of the objectives. I want to look my best when we're out walking the streets of Edinburgh in the summer, going to pubs and things, you know. And also, I also want to just kind of look my best, generally speaking, and not look like a fat cunt, which is how I started the year. So yeah, it's going pretty well. I'm waking up in a good mood, as opposed to my sort of trademarked existential dread with which I usually start the day. So yeah, I can recommend it.
That's to be applauded, Greg. I was exactly the same as you. I hated running, never thought about running, never wanted to run, thought it was pointless. And I don't know what came over me. It was literally, in fact, it was like last time last time I came, not last time I came to Dubai, but the time I came over for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
It was, and we came back to Amsterdam for New Year, and literally on the 1st of January I woke up and I had a pair of running shoes that I'd bought, I think, for walking the dog, like, because they were cheap, and they weren't cheap, they were Nike Flyknits, but you know, they were decent running shoes, but I usually use them for walking the dog, and I don't know what came over me that morning. I put on the running shoes and went for a run. Right. And I was the same as you, like, just a disaster to start with, but I kept at it because it felt good. But yeah, I still run, like, you know, every week and a few times a week, and I love it. It's an amazing feeling. It's really good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, I've just finished week 4, and so I run 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays and Friday, and then I have like Saturday off. I'm playing tennis on Sunday morning, although I don't think that'll go for much longer because today's Sunday and this morning was very hot, even at 7 o'clock, for running about a tennis court. Find an indoor solution. But yeah, I'm quite proud of myself just for the fact that I've sort of stuck to it for 4 weeks. Because historically, I wouldn't have done that.
You've got Steve Cram to thank for that.
Well, I do,
If you could have any Scottish celebrity to encourage you rather than Steve Cram, who would you pick? I mean, would it be Claire Grogan?
No, I think I would need someone like Robert Carlyle as Begbie coaching me.
Well, like he's chasing you.
Yeah. If I come back and you're no running, I'll fucking cut you.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant, actually. Okay. Yeah, that could be encouraging. Well done, Greg. Applaud you very much for that, and keep it up. We'll look forward to hearing your progress in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Greg's journey to wellness.
Yeah, that's good. It could be a new feature that we'll have on this Swally. Very good. Okay, shall we have a look at what's been happening in the news in Scotland over the last couple of weeks, Greg?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen over the last couple of weeks that has caught your eye and you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
Well, this is perhaps the biggest news from Troon since Janie Godley went to the golf course with a sign that reads "Donald Trump is a cunt" a few years ago when he was making a visit to the club. So Scott's, it's from the Daily Record, the 14th of May. Scott's homeowner stunned after strange woman caught taking a late night dip in his hot tub. Bizarre footage has captured the moment as yet unknown woman snuck into the back garden of his home in Troon. The woman can be seen standing beside the hot tub and appears to be contemplating how to get inside before she manages to clamber into the water. After an unsuccessful attempt, she tries to dip one leg into the outdoor whirlpool before climbing back out. Later, she is seen standing in the garden with her hands on her hips as she looks around. The woman spent 40 minutes in the family's garden before wandering off, but was later tracked down after leaving her phone and a pair of shorts behind. The puzzled homeowner... This is a strange choice of words. The puzzled homeowner who slept through the ruckus. Doesn't sound like it's not like a woman trying to creep into a hot tub doesn't. That's not how I would imagine the word ruckus would be defined by.
No, definitely not. It's not what "bring the motherfucking ruckus" was kind of.
Yeah, absolutely not.
That's not what it meant, no.
Well, the homeowner reckons that the woman was simply looking to cool down because, as we know, Scotland has been enjoying a bit of a heat wave over the last week or so. He said, "I couldn't believe it when I spotted her on the camera. She walked up the driveway just after midnight on Sunday morning. Then she spent around 40 minutes in the garden." The video was shared on social media in a bid to track down the unknown dipper and reunite her with her shorts and her phone. I hope that's a brown leaf on that pair of shorts. Picture of her shorts here. I think it is a leaf. It's a blue pair of light blue pair of shorts with pictures of Simba from The Lion King on them.
Oh, wow.
But his neighbours later got in touch to say the same woman had also wandered into their gardens. She's just wandering the back gardens of Troon looking for a hot tub. One neighbour who shared footage of the woman walking down her driveway claimed she had been caught on his home camera several times. They said, I caught her floating about mines several times between midnight and 5 a.m. Another shared Ring doorbell camera footage and said, she was also at my front door and she was at my friend's down the street. A third person said, I think this is a sleepwalking incident. I don't think it is, because she had her phone with her, you fucking clown. While others warned the situation could have had a worse outcome, for goodness sake. A fourth neighbour warned, she could have drowned in that hot tub. There's always one, isn't there? A fifth said, well, this is scary. I think you should have phoned the police. But Police Scotland have received no reports of the incident. So obviously cooler heads have prevailed. So yeah, that was this phantom lady pacing the gardens of Troon. Thoughts on hot tubs?
I don't know. Not a huge fan, I think. I think that episode of Two Doors Down put me off. Yeah, I don't know. Hot tubs are okay, I suppose. I wouldn't have one, but I guess they're all right.
They seem to have taken off in a big way in the UK over the last sort of 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I think maybe COVID maybe had something to do with that. People getting stuff for their back garden. So what do we think? This woman, you don't think she was sleepwalking? You think she just fancied a dip in someone's hot tub and she's just roaming round the gardens at night? But why would she leave her phone in her shorts?
I mean, look, come on. This is the west of Scotland, right? She was probably pissed. Decided she probably remembered seeing this guy getting a hot tub delivered. Was so pissed she couldn't remember which garden it was in, but she had a rough idea, and it's just kind of wandered through people's gardens until she's come across it, and she's been so pissed that she's left her shorts and her phone behind.
So she was in that hot tub for 40. She was in the garden for 40 minutes, or do you think she was in the hot tub for 40 minutes?
It doesn't say how long she was actually in the hot tub for. It says she was in the garden for 40 minutes and she had some problems getting into the hot tub, but we're led to believe that she did manage it eventually.
Do you think she had a piss in that hot tub?
I mean, there's a strong chance. I think if I was the hot tub owner, I would be changing the water just being the safe side.
Yeah, I think definitely. That's, roaming into people's gardens. You don't hear much of that nowadays, I suppose. But I guess houses are a lot different. You know, there used to be the games you would have, like playing backies, where you would run through people's back gardens and stuff and climb over fences when you were younger. But I guess you don't really have that ability nowadays. Have you ever found someone odd in your garden or anything?
No, I never have. But when I was a kid, I remember when I lived in Barrow and Furness, one of the neighbours got a sort of, I guess, a kind of motion sensing lamp in his garden and in his driveway, and we used to sort of try and get into his garden without the light coming on just to see if we could do it. Honestly,
brilliant,
fucking exhilarating. I don't think I've ever felt exhilaration like it. Just the tension, just moving really slow like a commando. And if the light comes on, you have to just get on your feet and run like fuck in case it came out.
Well, there you go. Fuck Steve Cram. Next time you're running, think that you're just someone set off the sensor light and then just run like fuck.
Yeah. Gosh, that's incredibly exhilarating. Anyway, that's our mysterious dipper, as the Daily Record has decided to call her, in Troon. What's your first story this week?
My first story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is Folly Bag. Marks and Spencer are facing the furious wrath of the Tartan Army after plugging England bags in one of their most famous Scottish stores. M&S is the official partner of both national sides, but fans were left gobsmacked after spotting the bags emblazoned with the Three Lions crest at Edinburgh Waverley Station on Sunday. The carriers are placed around the checkouts in the busy shop, but there were none displaying the Scotland badge. Speaking 1 month before the tournament opener against Germany, Ian Emerson, editor of the famous Tartan Army magazine, said, "It seems a mistake and a missed opportunity on their part not to have any Scotland ones in this shop. Perhaps they never thought we were going to qualify, or maybe they just didn't do their research correctly. I'm pretty certain that if they stocked the Scotland ones, the sales of them would go through the roof. These days have changed. This is our second qualification in a row. If they aren't planning to get already, I would urge Marks and Spencer's to get the Scotland ones in stock." Pictures of the bags inside Waverley were first shared by an outraged fan on social media. He wrote, "Today in M&S, in the main train station, at the capital city of this country, we really do get treated like a fucking joke." One Scotland fan commented, "Oh, it's terrible they're in Waverley Station, in Scotland's capital. I'd rather put the products back than get one of those bags. Another said, the SFA have the same sponsorship with them, so would it be more appropriate if they used our badge? And a third replied, who cares? Just don't buy them. Marks and Spencers have been approached for comment. So, outrage that Edinburgh Marks and Spencers are selling bags, and there's photos of the carrier bag. It's just it's a carrier bag, but yeah, it does have the 3 lions, and it does say officials partner of the England team. Bit of a misstep. You don't do that, do you? I mean, well, Edinburgh maybe is fine, but you don't do that in Scotland. You can't be getting away with that.
Fucked it. Definitely fucked it. But I mean, if those fans want to feel better, they should maybe watch that The Final documentary on Netflix that I put you onto. That'll cheer them right up. If you want to watch it.
I did enjoy that.
90 minutes of really upset England fans talking about their day out and what a shambles it ended in.
Yeah, it's their own fucking fault, most of them. It was carnage. I did feel sorry for some of the people in that documentary, like the Italian guy and his daughter, obviously. Then, you know, there was a few, the journalist, I think, that was there with his dad.
Yeah.
That was, you know, I felt sorry for him as well. And oh, God, it must have just been absolute fucking carnage. Yeah. But yeah, so, of course, the Euros kicks off in a few weeks, and they're selling those bags in Edinburgh. It's shocking behaviour. We don't do that.
We'll be able to take maybe a game or two in when we're together in Edinburgh as well, won't we?
Well, when we're in Edinburgh, it's the semi-finals. So we will see one of the semi-finals, I think, on the first night we're there. But then the second one, we are at a concert, so we won't see that game. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But it will still be fun to see. But it's just, it's not the done thing. And as I say, that is the thing, as the fans are saying, like, you know, come on, you're an official partner with Scotland as well. Why not have bags with the Scotland badge? It could have been a mix-up. Maybe someone, you know, has been a mix-up, the wrong bags have been delivered, some staff members not realised and put them out by mistake. But, you know, you can't be doing that. I mean, because we do have, it is like a bit of fun and banter, but, you know,
it's also really serious.
Well, it is, it is. Like, I remember, back in, was it 2006, I think, World Cup, that Scotland hadn't qualified, but England had, and then they were drawn in the group with Trinidad and Tobago. And at that time, Jason Scotland played for Trinidad and Tobago, and you could not get a Trinidad and Tobago top in Scotland for love nor money, because they sold out everywhere instantly. And everyone was getting Scotland on the back. And, you know, it was just fun about it. I remember I feel we do have a lot of listeners in England, so I'm really sorry about this. Like, it's not a thing, but it is just our way. I have such fond memories. The night before I went on my first ever lads holiday, I went to Ayia Napa with 3 friends when I was 17. Yeah, 17. And the night before was England against Argentina in the World Cup.
So that had been 98.
France,
98.
98, yeah. France 98. And obviously England lost on penalties. And we watched it, we're only 17, so I don't think we could get into a pub. We watched it at my friend's auntie's house because we were flying from Glasgow airport.
Right.
And so we went down to Glasgow, we were staying there overnight and then getting a flight in the morning. And we watched the game and we were hungry. So then we went out to the Chipper, and I can't remember which fish and chip shop it was, but we went there and there was a guy in front of us who looked miserable. And the woman behind the counter said to him, "Why are you looking so fucking miserable? Cheer up. England are out the World Cup." And burst out laughing. And then when we landed in Ayia Napa the next morning, the first thing we did, found a little market and we bought 4 fake Argentina tops. Bore them pretty much the whole holiday. Because that's how fucking petty we are.
I'm sure I've told this story on the Swally before, but where in 2001 I was in Ibiza with a mutual friend, another mutual friend who is a sort of Minecraft YouTube guy now, which I still can't quite believe because he's a year older than me, and a guy who I'll just name called Alan McLean, who we didn't know very well, right? We hadn't known Alan for very long, and he was a fair bit younger than the rest of us. I think I'd have been like 23. I think Alan was like 19 or something. And England were playing Greece, and Scotland, I can't remember who Scotland were playing, but they were playing later on. And we were going to watch the England game in the Highlander pub in San Antonio, but they couldn't get it to work. So Alan really wanted to watch it, and he was wearing a Scotland strip. So I said, well, I'll come with you and we'll find a pub to watch it. So we went to like a pub a few doors down, and of course it's like full of England fans watching a game. And if you remember, and I said to him, I said, listen, no matter what happened, just don't react, right? Just don't be a prick. These guys want to see their team win. We're on holiday. Right? And he's like, yeah, no problem. So if you remember, Greece, like, England did win the game, but Greece scored first, like reasonably early in the first half.
Yeah.
And Alan just goes, yes! Like, starts jumping up and down. It's like, we had to leave. I had to fucking, I mean, like, we stayed for a few minutes after when the game like kicked off again. I was like, come on, Alan, we've got to get the fuck out of here.
Was that the 1-1 draw? Was that the one where Beckham scored the free kick in the last minute?
Yeah. It was. I mean, I have to say, I have to give it to Beckham. It was a fucking amazing free kick that he scored. To be fair.
It was actually. It was an absolute perler, and to score it, like, it was in the last minute, and that was to send them to the World Cup. Like, it's
you mentioned Trinidad and Tobago. I can't remember who England were playing, but it was recent, like in the last few years, maybe like just before the pandemic, and they were playing like some African team, I think, can't remember which one, and they've got this, like, there was a photograph and there's a sea of like obviously black fans, and then just in the middle of the photograph a couple of guys, white guys with kilts and Scotland tops on. Fucking really made me laugh. Really made me laugh. Anybody but England, you know.
Yeah, never underestimate our pettiness. Never mind. Apologies to all of our English listeners there. Like, we, you know, it's just fun and banter. We don't take it seriously, but
we wish you all the very best of luck with the Euros.
No, we fucking do. Okay, what else have you seen this week, Greg?
Well, this one's come up quite reasonably ironic, since we covered Super Gran a few episodes ago. But this is from the Daily Record. Recently, Gudrun Ure, who played Super Gran, passed away at the ripe old age of 94. But this story...
98, I think.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. 98, which is an incredible innings. But this story comes from the Daily Record, just in today, which is the 19th of May. Super Gran mega fan. Bet you never knew that someone like that existed. Gets attacked.
That could fit into the song.
Good.
Super
Gran mega fan.
Super Gran mega fan.
So Super Gran mega fan gets a tattoo of the iconic character inked on his bum. This is Gregor Sanders, who's the same age as me, 45. He got the large tattoo of the late actress Gudrun Ure in her most famous role. The portrait was completed at Fat Buddha Tattoos in New Stevenson in North Lanarkshire. Gregor has long joked about the idea, but he decided to go through with it to raise money for charity, raising almost £1,100 for Alzheimer's Scotland. The accounts assistant had it done last year, but he revealed it this week following the death of Gudrun, played Super Gran. Gregor from Motherwell said, "I'm 45 now. I grew up with a theme tune and everyone knows Super Gran. So I thought, why not?" I had a conversation with a friend and I said I'd get Super Gran in my backside, and I actually carried the idea through. I was fully committed. Alzheimer's Scotland also sent out a t-shirt for me to wear, so I wore that on the day as well. I'm surprised they didn't send somebody out to make sure he was okay. You okay, hon? Tattoo artist Jason Lau was happy to join in on the fun. He said Gregor has been in before for tattoos. He'd had a bit of a joke going on with a few of his pals that he was going to get a Super Gran tattoo. They all grew up knowing Super Gran, so it felt like an iconic image. The portrait took 5 hours. And the result, 5 hours, and the result might just be Jason's favourite work yet. He added, "It's only people who are in their 30s that seem to recognise it." I mean, I wouldn't even say that. I think people in their 40s and 50s, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely.
Younger people have thought it's just a portrait of his gran. So
why is he showing younger people his arse?
I know. Do you want to see my tattoo? So yeah, I'll put the picture up on our socials. It doesn't show the crack of Gregor's arse, so I think we'll be safe. Just it's a close-up. It's a close-up of the tattoo itself. The Day the Record also playing it safe by not showing Gregor's arse crack. So yeah,
don't need to see that.
We don't need to see it. So if you were going to get an iconic Scottish character tattooed somewhere in your body, who would you get? Where would you get it?
An iconic Scottish character, and where would I get it? You know what? Like almost like a pin-up girl tattoo.
Oh yeah,
of Maggie Brune on my arm.
That's a great idea. It's a really good one, yeah.
That is a really good idea. It's just come to me. And then maybe Daphne on my arse.
Yeah. Wait, I was going to say, if you got it on your back so you couldn't see the tattoo artist's progress, what if he got Maggie and Daphne mixed up? You thought you were getting beautiful, glamorous Maggie, and you got sort of frumpy Daphne instead.
Well, then I've just got to live with that, Greg. Unfortunately, then I've just got to have Daphne Breen on my arm for the rest of my life. Yeah, I think that would. I quite fancy that. Like Maggie Breen is like a pin-up girl kind of style. I wonder. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. What about you? What would you go for?
I don't know. I mean, that Maggie Broom one's going to be difficult to top, I think. Who would I get? Because I was thinking...
Did you get the photos I sent you a few months ago of Lorraine Kelly?
I feel like I could probably be... I feel like if Lorraine Kelly saw that artwork on my body, she would have grounds to take some legal action against me, I think. I don't think... Something tell... I mean, Lorraine Kelly's obviously the loveliest lady on television, but I don't think she'd be too impressed with that. I was going to say Ur Willie until you sort of like inadvertently trumped me with your Maggie Brune idea. So I don't know. But yeah, maybe Ur Willie, soapy suitor.
We're going to be booking a tattoo studio in Edinburgh when we're there and get some Maggie Brune pin-up tattoos.
Well, I did think about maybe getting a tattoo, but the thing is, every time I get a tattoo when I'm at home, it's always like the day before I fly. And I don't know if it's because of the cabin pressure or whatever, but it always hurts a bit. You know what I mean? Because obviously the cabin pressure has affects your blood and how thin your blood is and everything, and it always hurts a bit more. But so yeah, maybe we could do that. I mean, our mutual friend would just be absolutely horrified if you and I got matching Maggie Brune as a pin-up girl. Yeah, like the sort of pin-up that the American pilots would paint on the front of their B-52s before they flew off to Germany. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Exactly. That's exactly my thought. Yeah, and I'm sure there must be some artwork out there of that, or we could pay someone on Fiverr to.
I could maybe
draw that.
I could maybe draw it. Yeah, maybe I could draw it. Yeah, maybe.
I don't think I'll get that done. But it would be maybe. I don't know. I'll have a think about it.
Yeah, I don't think my wife would be too impressed. I might have to get him to do Maggie Brune, but as a sort of West Indian variant Maggie Brune, just to keep my wife happy.
Maggie Brune's been on the sunbeds.
Yeah, I need you to black up Maggie, and you know.
Okay, I'm leaving that there. Okay.
Probably wise. Anyway, that's Gregor and his super grand tattoo. What's your second story this week?
Bizarrely, Greg, my second story is also about tattoos. It's very strange, and this harked me back to one of our early episodes where there was a girl who got a Greg's tattoo on her arse.
Of course.
Wasn't there? Remember that?
Yeah.
So this reminded me of this. So this is from the Daily Record, and this is from today. Costa-obsessed sisters get matching coffee cup tattoos. 2 Costa coffee addicts have sealed their love of the chain with matching tattoos. Irvin sisters, Pamela and Mandy Carson, admit they spend almost every day in Costa's Rivergate shopping centre branch. Every fucking day, Greg. The duo, who are on first name terms with the staff, well, I think the staff all wear name badges, don't they? Have now added the coffee giant's signature cups to their collection of ink. Both sisters already have more than 40 tattoos between them, and they admit what started out as a joke to commemorate their love for coffee has now become a reality. Pamela, 39, said, "Myself and Mandy are always in there. We always said to our family that if they couldn't find us, we'll most likely be in the nearest Costa. When the lockdown happened, the two of us really struggled not getting our daily coffee. I think you can go to the supermarket and get Gold Blend or get an espresso machine from Amazon or something. We started joking that when it is all over, we need to get Costa cups tattooed. The pair finally got their matching tats on Tuesday at Ardrossan's Devilish Ink tattoo studio, where tattoo master Kat loved the idea, as she is also a coffee fanatic. Pamela added, "The funny thing is that the girl that did our tattoos is also a bit of a Costa addict. So it was almost like from one Costa lover to another."
I mean, some people need to go outside a bit more, right?
The pair, who swear by their daily cappuccinos, admit it's almost impossible to calculate how many coffees they've purchased over the years. Pamela added, "The managers at our local branch said that we need to come down and take a photo for their social media. They think it's brilliant. It's a dedication to Costa. We do come every day, and the staff know us, and we're on first name terms with them. We sometimes think we should just move to Costa. That's how often we're there." Oh, Pamela. So that's Pamela with her sister with her fucking matching Costa coffee tattoos. Look, hey, you know what? There's people, I know he's not the best example to use, but like Ed Sheeran has got like the Heinz ketchup logo on him. In fact, a better example that I should have done that is more cooler and more relevant, although is it cooler, is like CM Punk has like a Pepsi logo tattooed in his arm. And people have said, "Why'd you have that?" And he's like, "Because I fucking love Pepsi." Like, you know.
Don't you have the barcode off a can of Iron Brew tattooed in the base of your spine?
No, it's just a general barcode. It's not from a can of Iron Brew. No, it's just a general barcode that I have tattooed, yes.
Right, okay.
But no, it's not from Iron Brew. Would you ever get a product or brand tattooed on you?
I don't think there's anything that... I mean, no, I don't think so. Because I tend to sort of cast scorn on people that do that kind of thing, so I'd be a terrible hypocrite if I did it myself.
So you wouldn't get like a Tennant's logo tattooed on you or anything, no?
No, I don't think. Because, and the other thing is, right, companies like Tennant's, like Costa, like Iron Brew, like whoever you like Heinz, to get their logo displayed in public would normally pay, you know this, you've worked in marketing, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds/dollars/euros. Why the fuck would you go and advertise it for nothing?
I don't know, because you love it so much. You just love that brand so much. So you want to display it. I haven't really thought... The only thing I've thought about maybe getting at some point was like a Stay Puft Marshmallow tattoo, like the logo. Like I have thought about that.
Well, that's fine because that's a fictional brand, right? It's not real. You're not doing like some advertiser's job for them.
Yeah.
You know. I remember when I was a kid, I mean, cannot say when football teams in the UK started having sponsorship on the jersey. You probably know better than I, but...
It was the early 80s, late 70s, the early 80s, I would say.
Yeah, so I mean, that probably makes sense, because I remember my dad just being, like, horrified that anybody would buy, like, a strip to wear advertising whatever it was, McEwen's Lager, Crown Paints, JVC, whatever. But I just being like, he thought he could not get his head around it. He thought it was fucking madness. Of course, now it's just that's just how the world of football, rather, how it turns, right?
Yeah, and I find it funny. Like clubs do sell kits without the sponsor, but only if it's like a betting firm or something,
right?
And they'll sell a kids strip.
Yeah.
I don't think... I was about to say, actually, I don't think alcohol sponsors are still... Because I was struggling to think, actually, if anything whoever is sponsored by an alcohol brand at the moment. I don't know.
Well, are Wrexham not sponsored by Ryan Reynolds Aviator Gin?
No, that's their training kits.
Oh, okay.
Their main sponsor, I think, is United Airlines, that they wear on their actual kit. Yeah, all their sponsors are American. But yeah, I think, it's an odd thing, I suppose. But you're right, yeah. You would you were a walking advert. And it does kind of matter in terms of your sponsor when you're a football fan. You don't want to be walking around with a shitty sponsor. And a lot of people do boycott. I think that's why there was it was the late 90s, kind of early 80s, late 90s, early 2000s, that Rangers and Celtic had the same sponsor for about 10 seasons. Like they changed from, I think, like Carling to Tennant's to
Magners.
Another one they had, Magners. I don't think Magners wouldn't have sponsored Rangers.
No,
because they're
remember
Irish, obviously. So
I remember the sponsoring Celtic because we when I worked in the UK, we bought a bit of advertising on the hoarding at Parkhead, and we got a wee tour, and there was like a Magners bar in the stadium, like sponsored by Magners bar in the stadium that they showed us. Didn't offer us a fucking drink in there, right enough, but it just sort of showed us around. It was 10 in the morning, to be fair, it's probably why.
I think it started with NTL Digital that started that. They sponsor both teams. And that was a way to kind of effectively not alienate half of Glasgow from your brand, because that's how petty it is. I mean, we've just spoken about not buying an England bag. That's how petty. But, to be fair, in Glasgow, if a brand sponsors the other team, they won't use that brand at all.
I'm not sure that's the same thing. Like, we wouldn't buy an England bag because we'll obviously be supporting Scotland in the Euros, but I can't imagine, but not like boycotting like a digital television provider because they're sponsoring your mortal enemies in the south side of the fucking river or the northeast side of the river, depending on which colour jersey you wear. I mean, that is petty. That is really petty.
Well, yeah, because then, it just seems us, like in terms of like, well, okay, Tennent's are sponsoring Rangers. Right, well, and I did see a lot of that online.
Yeah.
Aberdeen fans, well, I'll never drink Tennent's ever again. Like, really?
Yeah.
So you're going to fucking drink Kronenberg when you're in the pub?
You're going to spend on average an extra 45 pence every pint that you drink? I don't think so in Aberdeen.
Aye, and shitter lager. Get a pint of Tennent's down your neck. Fuck it. That's sticking it up them. Anyway, never mind. So that is the lovely girls and their Costa tattoos. So I wish them all the best of luck. I fucking hate Costa coffee, Greg. I don't like it. It's bitter. I prefer Starbucks.
I don't like it either, and I don't like Starbucks coffee either, to be quite honest. I find it...
I don't mind Starbucks.
I find it watery. If I have a coffee in Starbucks, I always have to ask for the stronger blend, because a Starbucks should ask you if you want it regular or strong. You always ask for strong, because the regular is like dishwater.
So you like it big and strong, do you, Greg?
Big, strong, and black.
Right. Mr. T.
Yeah, like Mr. T.
Can I have a Mr. T, please, and a flapjack? Okay. Have you seen anything else this week, Greg?
No, I haven't got anything else this week. What about you?
No, but fancy a quick game of Master Baker?
Sounds brilliant. What are the rules?
Okay, so it's a new game we'll come up with. It's 3:20am.
Right.
And we've just left Priory. We've been dancing all night to Sugar Babes, S Club 7,
Liberty X,
Kylie Minogue, Blue, Mobb Deep. And we'll make our way up to the Chapel Street Baker because, as we've mentioned in the podcast before, after a night out, you'd either go to the Chipper or the kebab shop, but more than likely we would go to the bakers because the bakery would open at like midnight or 1am, and in the bakers you can get pies, you can get cakes, you can get sausage rolls, you can get a rolling sausage, a rolling bacon. I'm using those terms for you, Greg, because that's not what I would call them. You can get a whole selection of delights. And the one we used to go into Chapel Street, the guy had a certificate up that's saying that he was a master baker. So it's 3:20am, we've gone to the bakers. Oh fuck, there's 5 people in front of us, but they're all Scottish celebrities. And we're fucking pissed. So we're chatting away to everyone, but we're interested in what these Scottish celebrities are ordering in front of us. So what are they ordering from the baker, Greg? So first up, funnily enough, just mentioned, it's Lorraine Kelly. What is she ordering from the master baker on Chapel Street at 3:20am on a Saturday?
So I think Lorraine Kelly has come to the bakery via the Chipper and she's bought a single battered sausage. And what she's going to do, she's going to buy, if it's Aberdeen, she's going to buy 2 soft buttered rolls. She's going to take the sausage home, cut it in half, put one half in one roll, one half in the other, share it with her husband.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
She's the nicest woman on TV now.
You know, I mean, I don't want to say anything against Lorraine Kelly, but you know that she says that she portrays a character on TV. That's not the real her. She used that in a tax case because this is a true story. Fucking hell, I'm giving you all the Lorraine Kelly revelations. I told you all about the nude photos of her online. Now I'll tell you. She had a tax case because she filed that she was an actress rather than a presenter because it's somehow like a lower tax bracket or something. And she says that she portrays a character on TV. That's not her true self.
Right.
And that's how she got out of paying more tax for some reason. So that gets brought up a lot in terms of anyway. Okay, Lorraine's fucked off with her sausage in our roles. She's away to go and her husband. I don't know if she's going to be herself or her character.
Okay.
Next in line is, and this could be a big order. It's Alex Norton.
Norton. I think Norton he's going to get a loaf for the morning for his breakfast. White pan. He's going to get 2 sausage rolls, 2 rolls in sausage, 2 rolls in bacon, 4 Rice Krispie cakes, because he's got the grand range round in the morning. But Mrs. Norton knows that she'll need to get her hands on those Rice Krispie cakes and get them put away, because there's a good chance that Alex will fire into them after he's had his rolls and sausage and bacon and his sausage rolls. I think I can see Alex being a yoo-hoo man, so probably like a strawberry yoo-hoo, like the really thick ones. You know, because he's been drinking Tartan Special all night. You know what I mean? So he finds that if he finds that the yoo-hoo has a sort of Pepto-Bismol effect, or it sort of coats the lining of his stomach.
That sounds like a wonderful order. I think, you're right. That would be good, actually. Strawberry yoo-hoo. Never thought about that as like a Pepto-Bismol type thing. Yeah, but fuck, if you're lactose intolerant, you're fucked.
Yeah, well, true.
Right, Norton's fucked off then. So thank God, there's only 3 people in front of us now, Greg. We can start to think about what we're ordering.
Right.
But next up is Matt Costello.
Costello?
Yeah, Costello.
I think Costello's going to pick up half a dozen mutton pies. 1 for the taxi, 1 in front of the telly, and then 4 for his... Two for his breakfast, 2 for his lunch. I always imagine Costello living in a sort of 1-bed studio flat, just kind of waiting for the phone to ring, you know. So he's going to see if they've got any of yesterday's rolls left as well, because if they do, he might be able to get a bag of them at sort of knockdown price. He's going to see if they've got any damaged cakes that he can get a bit cheaper, just to fill up his cupboards and his wee fridge. Bottle of Iron Brew and up the road.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, that's all right. I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
I really hope Matt Costello has never listened to this podcast.
We've always been so kind to him. We've always been so kind to him. We have been. No, we have been. Like, we've ripped the piss out of him for always saying that he was in Wonder Woman 84, which he probably does say. But remember, think about it. He was the one that, fucking, at Cosmo's New Year's party, he was the one that calmed things down with the Guthrie situation.
Oh, true. Yeah, true.
Next up, Gary Lewis.
Gary Lewis. I think Gary Lewis is probably... The first thing he's going to order is probably a bottle of Iron Brew, and he's going to open it and take a big swally out of it while he's telling the baker the rest of his order. I think he's going to want half a dozen well-fired rolls for the morning.
Did you get well-fired rolls in an Aberdeen bakery, Greg? We're in the Chapel Street Bakery.
Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe not then. So he's going to ask for half a dozen well-fired rolls. He's going to get told that they've only got these fucking shitey northeast of Scotland soft rolls, or butteries, which just sends him into a rage. Right? Everybody's got to sort of calm him down. So he settles for a couple of eclairs and an Empire biscuit and goes up the road, absolutely furious.
Okay, and last, the final person before us in the queue, and we've been entertained. We've been paying attention to what everyone's been ordering, but we're pretty pissed. And we've been really enjoying this because we've been chatting away to her the whole time we're there. Claire Grogan.
Grogan at the bakery?
Yeah. I was going to say Michelle McManus to give you some sort of redemption from last episode when I didn't laugh enough at your joke, but then I thought, no, you know what, that's too open for things. Claire Grogan. What's Claire Grogan having at the bakery?
So I think by the time she's ready to place her order, we'll have pushed Claire Grogan to the edge of reason with a request for selfies, telling her how gorgeous she was in Gregory's Girl, but forgetting to tell her how gorgeous she is just now because we're so pissed. Now her husband runs an Italian restaurant, so I sort of imagine that when she gets the chance, she's going back to her West of Scotland upbringing. So I think she's straight in. Glass bottle of Iron Brew, not a plastic bottle. Glass bottle of Iron Brew. What else should she have? A mutton pie with gravy, a steak pie, a couple of Empire biscuits, and that's probably it, because she's not greedy. She'll probably just take a bite out of each pie and that'll be enough for her, and she'll chuck the rest. Well, she wouldn't chuck it in the bin because she's a good soul. She'd probably give them to like a homeless guy. She passes. She'll hand them over like 2 pies with like a little dainty bite out of each, a couple of Empire biscuits, a wee bite out of each, and a 3rd drank bottle of Iron Brew, and away up the road, whistling Happy Birthday up to our hotel.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's nice. And that's Master Baker.
Yeah. What would you be ordering from the bakery now? Because obviously you're now a vegetarian, so that you'd have to go for a macaroni pie.
Yeah, I'd have to get a couple of rowies and a macaroni pie. I don't know if the Chapel Street Bakery, maybe they do vegetarian and vegan stuff now. I've no idea.
Maybe.
Let's be honest, if it was like 3:20am and I'm fucking hammered and I'm hungry, I'll probably end up having a bacon roll and
It'd feel like shit to the next day because your body's not had anything like that in it for so long.
But I probably would. If it's like 3:20am and I'm that pissed and I've just met Lorraine Kelly, Alex Norton, Matt Costello, Gary Lewis and Claire Grogan in the queue for the shop and I'm with you, fuck off, a bacon roll with tomato sauce. Give me a rolling sausage as well, and a pie. And a pineapple hump, and then I'll be sorted.
A pineapple hump?
Bottle Iron Brew.
I don't think they're not called pineapple humps, are they?
Yeah, they are, pineapple humps.
I know exactly what you're talking about, by the way, but I don't think they're called pineapple humps in Glasgow. That must be an Aberdeen thing.
It's an Aberdeen thing, I think. They are, pineapple humps.
So it's like a camel's
hump. And then we'll nip down to the 24-hour shop, get a copy of Escort, and then back to the hotel.
Copy of Escort, bottle of poppers.
Room odorizers, Greg, I believe they're called, not poppers. Room odorizers.
I thought they were chemicals for cleaning vinyl, poppers, like record cleaning solution. No,
I don't know. Well, I guess your arsehole does look a little bit like a vinyl record sometimes. So keep that in, cut that out. Don't know. I'll decide when I'm editing. Okay, right. What would you have? Sorry, I haven't asked you, have I?
I would have. I mean, I was thinking about what I would have as soon as you said we were walking up to the bakery. I would have a steak pie, like nice, fresh, piping hot bakery steak pie, a bottle of Iron Brew, and a chocolate cornflake cake. But you know, like I don't know if they still do, but they used to make like quite big chocolate cornflate cakes that were too big to sort of take a proper bite of. You had to sort of break bits off it to eat it.
I remember that. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
I remember when I was staying at our mutual friend's. He very kindly let me use his flat when he was offshore, and I came up to Aberdeen for a few days. And he had a flatmate, so he said, "You can just sleep in my bed. I'll change the sheets for you." And I woke up one morning, and the bed was just full of little chocolate cornflakes. So because I decided to get into bed and stick a DVD on, and I'd obviously fallen asleep watching the DVD, and it was just like chocolate cornflake. I had to like take his sheets off, and I said, "Oh, I've stuck your sheets in the washing machine for you," before I went back down the road because they were all covered in chocolate.
It's the fucking second time I've referred. You've reminded me of Spud on this episode. It's okay. He was always a clatty bastard. I remember I used his flat one night. Actually, no, I'm not going to tell that story.
Yeah, I think you had to put his curtains in the wash for him, didn't you?
No, it was his bed sheets, and he must have spilled some toothpaste on them or something.
Yeah, it was. But in all seriousness, I don't know, and I think he still does this, because when he was staying with me the year before last, he did this. Like, most people just brush their teeth at the sink, and they spit out the detritus, they wash, they rinse it away, clean their toothbrush off. When I shared the flat with him, and even when he came and visit us here, and when we've gone to visit him, like, when we grew up, and he was married, and we went to visit him as, like, married couples with kids and stuff, he walks about the house brushing his fucking teeth.
I do that as well, Greg.
Do you really?
Yeah, I walk about when I'm brushing my teeth. I can't stand still at the sink. I walk about the flat and brush my teeth.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Well, each to their own. You wouldn't catch me doing that.
Well, in this little consensus, there's 3 people, and 2 do it, and one doesn't. So who's in the right and who's in the wrong there?
I think if we took a bigger sample of people, I think we'd find that you 2 were very much in a minority.
Don't start doing fucking polls on Instagram again, Greg, please. Okay, right. Okay. Right, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, oh my God, this is going to be so problematic. Let's have a little word from our sponsor. And our sponsor is, of course, Doric Skateboards, a skateboard brand created by Gary Kemp, whose main focus is to explore the people and the culture of Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland, and to create designs that reflect life in that area. Doric Skateboards screen print their own decks in their studio by Gary's fair hand, and they have produced some amazing designs over the years, including an Annie Lennox inspired board, a Robert the Bruce deck, and a Plenty of Pop deck inspired by the old Bonaccord trucks that used to drive around Aberdeen delivering fizzy drinks. Doric Skateboards also replicate these amazing designs onto clothing on 100% organic cotton tees, hoodies, sweatshirts, and you can also fill your boots on stickers, pin badges, beanies, and caps. Gary regularly collaborates with local artists to ensure that he brings the latest designs to the market, but always with a Doric twist, including the Ballater Toy Shop design, inspired by Scotland the What, which we actually need to cover quite soon, Greg. So check out Doric Skateboards for yourself on doricskateboards.com, and you can follow them on Instagram at Doric Skateboards to see all the amazing designs on offer. And we are delighted to be able to offer you 15% off as listeners to this podcast. All you need to do is head to doricskateboards.com, have a look at all the amazing decks, stickers, badges, hoodies and tees on offer, and enter the promo code SWALLY. That's SWALLY, same as the name of this podcast, and get your 15% off. That's doricskateboards.com, link in the description of this episode. Okay, Greg, so it was your choice of what we're going to be talking about today. Well, technically it was my choice, but you picked it for me. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about on this episode of the Culture Swally?
So, on our last episode, to mark our 100th episode, we did something that we've not done before, which we may or may not have pinched from another podcast that we're both fans of. And did a re-review, a re-swally / second swally, or a Gregory swally, as you came up with this week. A wee bit too late for recording, unfortunately, of a film that we covered way back in episode 2 of the podcast back in 2020. Bill Forsyth's classic coming-of-age comedy, Gregory's Girl. So, what better way to embark on the first of our next 100 episodes than a look at the often maligned 1999 sequel, Gregory's Two Girls. So we've got Bill Forsyth back in the director's chair. John Gordon Sinclair is back as the titular Gregory. Older, but still absolutely useless with women. Gregory's working as a sort of closet social activist English teacher in his old school, harbouring troubling romantic thoughts about one of his pupils, Francis, resisting the amorous advances of his colleague, Belle, the music teacher. Gregory is drawn into a conspiracy surrounding torture devices which are being made by his successful old school pie? See, fucking bakery game. Made by his successful old school pal, Fraser, played by Dougray Scott, of all people. So we've come a long way from a girl on the football team, Chick Murray, and Bella. So just, I'm going to read right, the synopsis. Now, the first Gregory's Girl should be, you know, if people who are regular listeners, I imagine that you probably, or you might have watched Gregory's Girl either before or after listening to our last episode. So assuming that a lot of you have, and with the warmth and loveliness of the original Gregory's Girl in your mind, I'm just going to very quickly read the plot of Gregory's Two Girls as it is on Wikipedia, right? 4 lines. 18 years after the events of Gregory's Girl, Gregory Underwood, Gordon Sinclair, now a 35-year-old English teacher in his former secondary school, has fantasies about 16-year-old student Francis, played by Carly McKinnon. His politically motivated lessons inspire Francis and Douglas, another student, to plot to overthrow a businessman they suspect of trading in torture equipment. Let's just balance that against the coming of age, sweet, innocent comedy of Gregory's Girl. So our hero has already been identified as, at best, a troubled adult, at worst, a nonce. And then we've got a conspiracy in Cumbernauld of somebody making torture devices. It's bizarre. But before we get into all of that, I have to ask you, as we always do, what are your memories of Gregory's Two Girls, Nicky?
I can't take credit for this, but I did read this online and I have to share it. Like, this should have been called Gregory's #MeTooGirls because it's so fucking problematic. I don't think I'd watched this the whole way through. I had seen bits of it before, but I hadn't watched it all the way through. I remember it coming out, and I remember the scathing reviews of it. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I want to watch that. And it must have been on TV one day, and I watched a bit of it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not into this. So it might have been the first time I've properly watched it, reviewing it for the Swally. And you know what? It's not awful, but it's not great. If you treat it as, it's not a sequel. It's just a film with a character who is the same character from the first one. It's not a sequel at all. It just happens to have Gregory, and there are glimpses of Gregory being Gregory in a couple of scenes. But for the most part, he's not. I do not buy him for 1 second as some sort of political activist and that he's into all this stuff. I do not buy that for a second. I think it's a very... I don't know where to start. Like, it's a very problematic film, but it's also, it's okay, but it's not great. And it doesn't tarnish Gregory's Girl for me, because I like to treat it as a completely separate entity. What about you? What's your first memories of this film?
So I realised, I thought I had seen it, and then when I was watching it, I didn't remember any of it until the very, very end, like the last maybe 10 minutes or so of the film, which I think I maybe caught the end of it on TV when it came on television as well at some point. So yeah, it's the first time for me watching it from start to finish. I think, it feels like it's clear that Forsyth he's obviously not wanted to write a sequel with lots of sort of callbacks and in-jokes and stuff from the first, but I think he maybe goes a wee bit too far in the other direction. I mean, even like the very, very, very beginning of the film with the credits, when the camera is just on the wall with the dressing room, like the music of the film the opening music is quite bleak. It doesn't suggest that we're going to be watching a sort of light-hearted, fun, warm comedy.
Watching that, I mean, the opening, what is it, like 2 minutes, and it's just a still, effectively, of a changing room.
Yeah.
And the music playing. It reminded me of Carrie.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, or Scum or something like that. It's I mean, it's so you just don't feel like you're in the world of the first film at all. Because like we spoke in the last episode how, like Forsyth, he sort of creates this sort of surreal kind of Gregory verse that the character, well, it's not even that kind of Forsyth verse, because he has these little touches in these other films. Stuff like The Penguin, for example. There's little touches of that in all these movies. All these Scottish movies, apart from this one, like there's none of that. There are some actually quite funny moments, which I'm we'll talk about shortly, that really stand out. But there's none of that sort of warm humour of his other movies. I mean, I don't know if he's trying to maybe make a bit of a political statement as well. I don't know. I can't really remember if this the kind of torture device equipment stuff, if that was like news in the late 90s. I don't remember. So I don't know if he's trying to say something or if he's just trying to make a sequel that nobody would expect for, like something completely different from the first film.
It almost reminded me, because it's so ridiculous in terms of the subplot of Fraser is building computers to send to third world countries that are being used as torture devices.
Made in the UK, torture at the touch of a button, electronic torture machines, illegal exports, Asia, Africa.
Torture, eh? What is it, techno music?
It's not funny.
I gave you this as an example of good committed journalism. Vivid language, persuasive argument. Fraser might be a bit of a tosser, but I don't think he hurts people. He makes bits for computers.
And some of these bits hurt people.
Now, obviously this was the late 90s. It almost reminded me of, it was one of my favourite TV shows. I haven't watched it in years. I might try and watch that again. Was Killer Net, if you remember that, on Channel 4.
I never watched
Jason Orange. Oh, it's amazing. I think it's on the Channel 4 streaming service. Killer Net.
Jason Orange, off Take That.
Yeah, he was in it. He played a DJ. And the whole premise of the show was that this guy gets addicted to this online game and kills people in the game. The game was almost a bit like Manhunt.
Right, okay.
But it killed people in real life as well. like kind of thing. It's a great show. Like, I recommend it. Killer Net. Seek it out. But it was almost like that was the early days of the internet and computers, and things were scary and people didn't know. And it almost felt a bit like that in a way.
Right.
And it just felt like such a ridiculous plot line to have in fucking... It's Gregory's Girl. Like, Gregory's Girl is, as we discussed in the last episode, there's no storyline. It's just a load of sketches with this kind of subplot running through it.
Right.
This had a storyline that hurt my head, and I couldn't work out, like, what they're making torture equipment to send to third world countries. What the fuck is this all about? This is just bizarre. This shouldn't be the sequel to Gregory's Girl, and it's not. I'm disowning this as a sequel. I think Bill Forsyth obviously had like such a prolific catalogue, and he made, as we discussed, you know, in terms of That Sinking Feeling, Comfort and Joy, Gregory's Girl, Local Hero. Then he kind of went to America and made a few films, made like Housekeeping, Breaking In, and then he did Being Human. And he had such a bad time on Being Human with Robin Williams. Not with Robin, like Robin was in the film. It wasn't him he had a bad time with, but it had a very problematic production, I think mainly due to financial issues and the ambition of what Forsyth wanted to do. And it had poor test screenings, and they said he had to trim 40 minutes out of the film and add narration. And that's a killer for a lot of films, if you have to add narration.
Yeah.
And also a happy ending as well. And since like Forsyth has like disowned that film, he doesn't speak about it and says like he didn't, it's almost like he didn't direct it. And then from Do Gregory's Two Girls, he took a 5-year break and then comes with Gregory's Two Girls. 1999. That was the last film he directed.
Yeah,
and last film he wrote. And I think that hurt him as well, because it had scathing reviews when it first came out.
But I wonder if he sort of stands by it. The opening scene, right? So, and again, we're balancing the sort of warm, you know, occasionally risky humour of Gregory's Girl, right? The opening scene, John Gordon Sinclair shagging a 16-year-old in the changing rooms at his school, whilst the headmaster and the police, who evidently know what he's doing, are banging on the changing room door, which has been locked. And it's supposed to be a sort of funny sex scene, but you're like... And I think John Gordon Sinclair's doing his best. I think he's actually... At times, he's actually very good in this film.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
So he's sort of doing his best, and it's trying to make it a kind of funny sex scene, if you like. But it's a teacher having sex with a student, and I know it turns out to be a dream. But then we get to see the stain on Gregory's fucking undersheet. And I was like, you know, I mean, are you expecting that the people who saw Gregory's Girl when it came out have grown up now and want something more grown up? You know what I mean? Is that maybe what he was thinking when he was writing it? You know, it's like the subject matter in the first film were predominantly teenage kids. The subject matter here are going to be predominantly adults. So I should write something more grown up. I don't know what he was trying to achieve at all.
I mean, the first scene of Gregory's Girl is 5 teenage boys spying on a nurse who's undressing, and you know, you see, and we said in the last episode, it's almost like, is this like Porky's, kind of the Scottish version of Porky's? And then, but then you have the 2 young kids that come up and like, all that fuss for a bit of tit, and it snaps it out of it almost.
Yeah.
In this film, it's almost like he's trying to replicate it, and I wonder if it is because of when it came out, like in the late 90s, because British cinema had maybe moved on in terms of, if you think about some of the films that came out around about that time. And it was maybe a little bit more, as we said, it was like a bawdy kind of comedy. Like sex is kind of important. Like that was something that kind of had to be in films almost, and something that, you know, was... You know, there's more sex and swearing in this. And is that because they wanted to fit in with the other British films around the time and try to keep up? But it's so problematic, that opening scene. He has, exactly as you said, he has sex with a 16-year-old student on... And there's not really anything funny about it. There's no surrealism. Like the funniest part is the one sock up, one sock down.
Yeah.
And you're saying, where is this? And then, as you say, the headmaster and the police banging on the door, wakes up, and he's had a wet dream. He's a 35-year-old man, and he's had a fucking wet dream. And we need to see that stain, isn't it, a sheet? Have you ever had a wet dream?
I mean, probably as a teenager, I would imagine. Like, none that really none that come to mind. None that spring to mind. Are you?
It just seems odd. Not that I can remember, I don't think. I mean, obviously I've woken up a few times with a fucking stoner, but I've never, I don't remember ever spunking my sheets or anything. Like, it's horrible to see. I'm like, really? Do we really need to see that? Like, is it not enough to just have had that dream? And for him to wake up and be like, oh, that's not right. What am I doing? Like, that's the way it should be. Because it's not Gregory. That's not the way Gregory should be. And yeah, I think it got off to a very bad start, effectively, with that scene.
I think the whole thing with Francis, it sort of works out. You're sort of relieved the way that works out, you know, because it's sort of resolved to some extent on her part. I think in the first act of the film, you know, Gregory thinks that he's going on a date, meets her at the country park. Where, I mean, why would he meet her in the country park? That's where his best ever moment with a woman has happened with Grogan and Gregory Girls 1. Why would you sully that memory by meeting a schoolgirl there that you're not supposed to be meeting? But anyway, he does, and we realise that Francis doesn't fancy Gregory at all, but because he's always quoting Chomsky and talking about questioning the status quo and blah 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 and criticising the US, she thinks that he'll be an ally to her because she suspects Fraser Rowan, Gregory's old school pal, played by Dougray Scott, of making these torture computers. So I like the fact that was sort of resolved early, and it wasn't strung along through the whole film. It kind of is a little bit.
It is.
Slightly, but not too, you know, like they get some comic mileage out of it, and it sort of becomes funnier when you realise that Francis has got no designs on Gregory whatsoever, and he's just been fooling himself and whatnot. So it's sort of, I sort of relaxed a wee bit watching the film, because I'll be honest, that first scene does not set you up for an enjoyable sort of 90 minutes, 2 hours, you know. But when it's resolved, and you know, Francis tells Gregory what she really wants to meet him for, it did help me relax and try to enjoy the film a wee bit, you know, as it went on.
There are a couple of Bill Forsyth kind of things in this, but I wonder if they've been put in just as almost like, oh shit, I haven't done enough weirdness in this film. So Did you notice that quite a few scenes in the film, in the background, you can hear like an ice cream van chime.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that's always like a callback to Comfort and Joy.
Yeah.
And when Gregory is going to meet Francis in the park for the first time, and that is quite a funny scene, that he showers and gets ready, then he has a whiskey, and then he showers again because he thinks he smells, and, you know, he's getting ready for a hot date. And, you know, it's when he leaves his house, you can hear kids everywhere, but you don't see them. You can hear them. And I wonder if that's obviously it's a callback to the first film when Gregory first leaves the house. So there are a couple of little tropes in there, but yeah, there's no penguin. No. There's no ridiculousness, really. It's just, there's not really anything that you would say is like classic Bill Forsyth, apart from maybe a couple of scenes.
The scene where he goes to the Costa Rican refugees, the Spanish refugees, the Spanish refugees house?
No, they are Chilean,
that's it. When he goes there and they're having a sing-song and everything, that did feel a bit sort of Forsythian, you know, especially when they start playing Flower of Scotland and everything.
Yeah.
That felt a bit more like what I guess people might have gone into this film expecting at the time.
I would say that scene, and we'll come back to later probably, but the scene in the headmaster's office with Gary Lewis and the whole Badger Beaver thing.
That's the highlight of the film, that scene. It's incredibly funny.
It's the best scene in the film, without a doubt. It is very fun. I just felt like Gregory, they did it in a way quite well, in that he's still the same Gregory. Like, he's looking for some sort of purpose, and he's just meandering through life, which is the same as the first film. And again, he's kind of guided through this film by others.
Yeah.
Like, much like the original. Like, even the pupils are guiding him through lessons. They're telling him, you know, what you should be saying.
Yeah.
I still do not for 1 second believe him as some sort of political activist and kind of the thing that he believes in. But what I want to know is, like, what's happened in these last 18, 19 years? Like, he's still in Cumbernauld.
Yeah.
He's obviously gone off to university because he has to have a degree to be a teacher. So I guess he probably went to Glasgow Uni or something, or Caledonian, like, maybe. But he's back in Cumbernauld, and what has happened? And there's a couple of continuity kind of things that annoyed me as well, in that he does say at one point, well, I could speak to my dad, but, well, they never had a good relationship. But hey, maybe they've built a relationship over the years, like, type thing. Like, maybe they have, but from the first film, you don't get that. And then there's one part where he says, I think he says to Belle, like, I've never played an instrument.
Yeah.
Like, well, you played the fucking drums in the first film, so that's, why have you missed that? Couple of things about his character, like, I want to know what he's been doing for those years, like, and he hasn't moved on at all, still living in Cumbernauld, working at his old school, he lives alone, he evidently avoids people, because Belle says, like, you never do anything on a Saturday, and you just hide away watching fucking Noam Chomsky videos. Susan must have really fucked him up at some point along the way.
Well, possibly. I mean, I made a note in my notes to say, is Gregory still a virgin? Maybe. And that's where his awkwardness comes from, But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's that really bugged me that he didn't mention his drums to Belle. Especially since the character's obviously been named Belle, so we could do the Bella Bella callback to the first movie. But yeah, I mean, I think there are moments when sort of physically, I think, John Gordon Sinclair has got a good understanding of, as an adult, he's not going to be as awkward as he is when he's a teenager, but there's still the ghost of that sort of awkwardness. When he's just sort of walking along the street, even that scene that you mentioned there when he's getting ready for what he thinks is going to be a date with Francis, with a sort of double shower and stuff, like there is, that is a sort of example of the old unsure of himself Gregory. But I don't know, it's sort of weird just how his life has turned out. He's got that sort of industrial racking in his living room, he's shelving. He's got all these. He's buying all these sort of social activist magazines and stuff, and inadvertently inspiring Carly and Doug, who clearly sort of see him as a bit of a mentor, which is a role that he ends up reluctantly taking. But it's just, I don't know, it's just not the Gregory that we would have expected to find as an adult after watching the first movie.
Yeah, I agree. There are a couple of scenes where he is, like, kind of awkward and stumbles around, and you're kind of like, that's the Gregory I know. That's the flashback. That's what I want to see. But it's just not enough in the film. And I realise, obviously, he's older and developed and things have changed, but still just wasn't enough for me in terms of there's flashes of what make him likeable, but he's not lovable as he was, in the first film. And I think that's the whole point. And there are, there's a couple of good parts that, the one part that really made me laugh is towards the end when he goes to Belle's to get her car and rings the buzzer. And we'll come on to the character of Belle shortly, but she's like, well, I'll give you it for a shag. Yeah. Like, it'll only take 15 minutes. And then there's an old woman there, and she goes, on you go, son. You're in a hurry. You go first. That made me laugh, because she'd obviously listened to the whole conversation. And other bits, I mean, the only two characters that are there from the first film, and it's a different actress playing Madeline, are Gregory and Madeline.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. But you made a good point there, and I think, I'd written down, because I kind of wanted to, you obviously want to root for Gregory, right? Because you're a fan of Gregory from the first film, and it's John Gordon Sinclair back again. And I've written, did it need the schoolgirl plot, really? I mean, when I say that, did it need the schoolgirl plot with Gregory having lustful dreams and everything else? Because that first scene, just to come back to that, it doesn't make you root for Gregory at all. No. Seeing that scene. Now, you could have had the whole story with Dougray Scott and the factory and Francis and Doug without portraying Gregory having lustful thoughts about a schoolgirl. You could have had the confusion where she asked to meet him and he's like, he's not sure, you've got to be careful because he might get in trouble. You didn't have to have the whole date thing, but I think there was like maybe some comedy mileage in the misunderstanding without Gregory. So if Gregory thinks that she fancies him, but just don't make him have lustful thoughts about her. He remains a professional teacher, but in his awkward, bumbling kind of Gregory way, who gets the wrong end of the stick when she asks to meet him because she wants him to help her with this conspiracy that she thinks that she's uncovered. That would have been fine without, you didn't need all that stuff, like the dream and him getting ready for this day and the sort of chat with Fraser at the girls' football game and everything. You could have still had the same outcome, but we would have been rooting for Gregory more than we end up, because of the fact that he's fucking out of order. Getting ready for what he thinks is a date with a fucking 16-year-old schoolgirl.
I wonder if it's almost that Bill Forsyth came up with the title first, Gregory's Two Girls, and thought, that's a fucking great title. Let's try and let's shoehorn in some sort of storyline here.
Yeah, that did occur to me as well. Maybe that's what he's done. But then he's got the criminally underused Dawn Steele in there. Why could she not have been the second girl and had a bit more to do? You know what I mean?
Exactly. She's of age. She's fine. She's an ex-pupil, but she makes a joke about, okay. I still fit in my uniform. Why couldn't she have been the thing? Yeah. He can be investigating this torture computers with the two pupils, and, Dawn Steele's always there as the receptionist or hanging around as the assistant or something, and then they end up having some sort of romantic thing, rather than a fucking 16-year-old girl. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's weird. And the only fucking torture that those computers are capable of is not running Windows 95 when you're trying to fucking get on the dial-up to go online for your MS Messenger or whatever it was back then.
So, we've spoken about Gregory. Let's speak about Fraser, Dougray Scott. Just a fucking year later, he was facing Tom Cruise in MI2. Yeah. Like, it's incredible that this film was like the year before.
Yeah.
Dougray's okay. Like, honestly, he's not an unlikable character as such. And I did question myself at some point. Like, is he actually a villain? Like, is he actually a bad man? Or, because it's not quite clear if he is making these fucking torture computers, or if he is just, it sounds ridiculous, you're laughing every time I say it, but that's what it is. It's torture computers. These computers that torture people. Or is he just a fucking genuine businessman who is sending computers to third world countries? He never admits to, like, this is what I'm doing. It's not like a big James Bond reveal of, you've seized my plan. It's like a fucking Scooby-Doo cartoon in some ways.
Yeah. But it's never really established.
No.
I didn't, I gotta be honest, there's two things that I don't care for Dougray Scott's performance in. The first one is The Crow Road that we covered quite a long time ago. And the second one is this. I didn't really, and the thing is, like, we did both series of crime. We did the second series last year and the first series the year before. I mean, he is absolutely phenomenal in crime. And you mentioned Mission Impossible 2 there. I mean, and he is just having the fucking time of his life in Mission Impossible 2. He's saying hunt, so it sounds a bit like cunt. Just because he knows that there'll be some Scots watching, he's getting to play the character Scottish and stuff, so there's a lot of things that I really, really like Dougray Scott in, but this, I imagine that because, like, before this, he's dipped his toe in Hollywood. He's done Deep Impact, which I think it came out at the same time as Armageddon, but didn't do as well, but it was still quite a big Hollywood film, and Regeneration, and he had done Twin Town, which, again, he's really good in Twin Town. He's a great character in Twin Town. And I wonder if they got the money for this film because he agreed to do it, and I wonder if he agreed to do it because he's probably the right age to have really enjoyed the first film when it came out.
Yeah.
But maybe to be fair to him, he's sort of doing his best with a not particularly well sort of realised character. You know what I mean? He's sort of doing his best with it, and he's maybe thinking as well that this is John Gordon Sinclair's film.
I mean, what do we know about the character though? Like, he says he went to school with Gregory because he's like, oh, you were always a loner or something. We're like, well, never knew who he was in the first film, and that's not true. Gregory wasn't a loner. He had loads of pals.
Loads of mates, yeah.
So that's not true at all. And he's obviously a local guy, done good, set up this firm in Cumbernauld. He's employing all the attractive women in the area to work in his factory and as his assistants. He is a little bit, well, he's very problematic as well in terms of, the first time you meet him, he's perving on 15, 16-year-old cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And then he has obviously eyes on Frances as well.
See now what gets you out of bed on a Saturday morning, my friend. I do indeed. Perfection. Sweat moist hair clinging to her temples, cream white thighs reddened from the cold air and the slap of physical contact. Celtic beauty. Christ, I could never be a teacher, Greg. How'd you put up with it? Day in, day out, smelling it, wafting past you along the corridors. It's not just beauty either, is it? I mean, it's just sheer living youth. Newness, fresh newness. I don't have the words.
So he is a bit of a problematic character in that way.
Yeah.
And not quite well-rounded. Like, you only see him, he's obviously a rich guy because then he sends Gregory a mobile phone and he's always kind of keeping in touch, but he's always like kind of one step ahead. But again, it's not answered for me if he is actually a baddie. Like, it's never clear, and that annoys me about this. Did he do anything wrong? Was he making torture computers? Like, I don't understand.
What do you think Ray Lennox would say if he heard some of Fraser Rowan's patter at the touchline of that girls' football game?
Oh, he would fucking beat the fuck out of him. You fucking nonce. And absolutely beat the shit out of him. Without a doubt, he'd get fucking Doogie Gilman with his rag and fucking choking him out without a doubt. Oh, yeah, would love to see that. But you're right. I mean, yeah, I understand. Probably one of the weakest performances I've seen from Gregory Scott, and I don't think it's anything to do with him. Yeah. It's more the character and the role. He's kind of been played, because like it's 1 year apart. Effectively, in a way, he is playing the same role that he plays in Mission Impossible 2. Because is that not like a guy that's making like a poison or like some sort of gas that's going to virus? Yeah. And so it's the same torture computers virus. He's basically playing the same character. And it's insane, the levels of difference of the way he's performing.
Do you think John Woo saw him in Gregory's Two Girls and said, that's my villain for Mission Impossible 2, that Scottish guy?
That's it. Okay, so he obviously likes doing a sequel, so let's get him in for this sequel. Gregory's Mission Impossible 2. Fucking hell. Absolutely ridiculous. Right. There's so much, actually. Now, I'm getting angry now. I'm talking about this. I actually started this off kind of like, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great. Now I'm getting angry. What was the fucking point of Dimitri and his dog? Like, I get what the point was. I loved seeing the dog. Dog was great. Dog was one of the best bits of the films. What's the fucking point of that character? Like, to let them know that he had been investigating all this stuff and that evidently he was a bad man.
Well, I think so. That's what I took from it. He sort of, when he is discovered as being who he is, because before that, Gregory thinks that he might be an undercover policeman trying to catch him noncing with a 16-year-old. Although it wouldn't actually be noncing in Scotland because 16's a legal age. But anyway, that's not the point. His sort of revelation as being an activist himself and a sort of civil rights guy, I guess, is there to validate Francis and Doug's suspicions and to maybe get Gregory to think, well, actually, maybe these kids are onto something here. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of that's why I thought Dimitri was there. That, and to have a little bit of a surreal relationship with a dog that follows him about, but he doesn't know where the dog came from or where it goes when he's not with him and all that,
Yeah, that's true, actually. And yeah, he always eats his haggis, but he never finishes his chips. It's quite a good line that I liked about the dog.
Yeah.
And it gave a chance to go back to the chip shop, but obviously it wasn't Capaldi's. It was a different chip shop.
Again, another opportunity missed for a little bit of a link to the first film. I did learn a new expression watching this film. I think it's Rowan Fraser, Douglas Scott's character, who says it. Have you ever heard of a Bangkok triple header?
No, I haven't.
Doesn't sound very good.
No, it definitely doesn't. It definitely doesn't. As I say, the only other character that comes back from the original is Madeline, and she is obviously doing well for herself. Working, good job, and she has her American boyfriend or husband. I think it's boyfriend, I don't know, but
boyfriend
who works for the UN, and she seems to be doing well. And I think that it was good to see the character back, obviously played by a different actress, but again, she's kind of the one that's trying to guide Gregory through things and still looking after him in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the sort of voice of reason. I guess a bit of an anchor for him, because like we see in the first film that relies on his little sister to kind of keep him on the straight and narrow, so to speak. So it was good to see the character back. Well, what I don't understand about the choice they made here is because, as you mentioned before, in the first film, Gregory's got loads of pals, right? And yet Douglas Scott's playing Fraser, who isn't a character in the first film. Why not just have him playing one of the characters from the first film? Who's gone on and done well for himself and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
It could have easily played well, but then because he's meant to be a villain, and in the original there aren't really any villains. There's no bad characters as such. Everyone's likable. Stevie's likable. Alan, Charlie. There's nobody bad in Gregory's Girl as such. So
I like the idea of Billy the window cleaner putting himself through university with his window cleaner money, getting a degree in computers, starting his own tech company. You know what I mean? Because Billy is supposed to be the sort of shagger. He certainly claims to be in the first film, the sort of older, more worldly wise in the ways of women character. So why not? Fraser's sort of clatty talk about schoolgirls and all that kind of thing, and Bangkok triple headers would have been, you can imagine Billy going on, travelling the world and sort of retaining a bit of that sort of sexual immaturity.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. You're right. Yeah. They could have done something about that. Yeah, they should have. Yeah, that would have been ideal. You're right.
So Peter Bradshaw, the Guardian film critic, said about this film, I got it here. He said, this quaint film, I don't know if quaint is how I would describe it, is from the stable of Forsyth movies such as That Sinking Feeling and Local Hero, and disconcertingly out of its time. All Forsyth's films have charm, including this one, but unfortunately Gregory's Two Girls has the unhappy distinction of being an accidental period piece. What do you make of that?
I can agree with that, I think, and maybe in terms of the time it came out, it was maybe... I think Bill Forsyth was trying to keep up with what was happening at the time. And in terms of, if you think about that period of time, it's bizarre, actually, because Gregory's Girl came out the same year as Porky's, for example, whereas this came out probably the same year as, like, American Pie, which is something we discussed in the last episode. I think you had a period of British cinema around about this time. You had like Four Weddings and a Funeral,
Snatch, Lock,
Hill, but Lock, Stock, Snatch, like even stuff like This Year's Love, or a lot of films that were probably, there was British films like maybe romantic comedy kind of things that had a lot of swearing and a lot of sex in it. Even stuff like Late Night Shopping, there was
Sliding Doors, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if Bill felt like, I need to up my game here, and he didn't need to at all. He needed to keep it where he was.
I wonder if maybe as well, it was maybe a wee bit out of touch with Scotland, because he'd been in the US for quite a few years. Because he made a film in Canada. Was that Breaking In, the one he made in Canada? And then fucking hell, he even directed Burt Reynolds, who was a fan apparently of Forsyth's movies. They liked his stuff. And I wonder if maybe he was just a wee bit out of touch with Scotland at the sort of end of the century, maybe.
I think he's one of the few directors to have directed two Burts in Burt Reynolds and Burt Lancaster. Burt's not a common name, you would think.
It's maybe like a little club in Hollywood. the Burts Club. You're only getting it if you've directed at least 2 Burts.
I do think that there are, there's a lot of problems in terms of film. And even, as we said, probably one of the best scenes of the film is when Gary Lewis catches Gregory with Francis. And Gary Lewis plays Francis' dad. And the next scene, they end up in the headmaster's office.
Yeah.
And he's having to explain about badgers, and I've never seen Francis's beaver.
So what were you doing last night?
Well, last night was pretty exciting, actually, because Francis had more or less promised us. You see, the thing is, I've never actually seen Francis's beaver. Francis's beaver. Of course, I didn't mean Francis's beaver. Badger. It's Francis's badger. I think there's, her beaver. It's a bit of a mouthful. Badger, that's a mouthful, not beaver. It's a tongue twister. Try and get your tongue around Francis's badger, eh? Well, mouthful, of course, is a turn of phrase. It doesn't actually imply eating of any kind or munching. Certainly not munching.
John Murtaugh is fantastic as the headmaster.
Yeah.
Matt Costello, incredible as the police officer. Gary Lewis is great as well. Everyone, that scene is hilarious and is very good. But then, and this is where I'm kind of a bit torn away because I don't know where I'm coming with this, but in the end everyone leaves and Gregory's left with the headmaster, and the headmaster effectively says to him, look, just like, it's okay, like it's natural to kind of have thoughts about your pupils, but you can't do it. Why don't you give Belle a try as she's ripe? And you're like, Jesus fuck.
Yeah.
However, then you're like, okay, is that as bad as in the original when you have the teachers discussing a 16-year-old redhead and biting a cake, like the nipple off a cake? Yeah. Is that as bad? Is it worse? That seems a little bit more 70s kind of innuendo laden, whereas saying, why don't you give Belle a try, she's ripe, is a little bit more like, are we going from Benny Hill to Roy Chubby Brown or type thing? That's probably not the best example because Roy Chubby Brown's more racist than sexy. But you know what I mean? It's almost like he's trying to take it a step too far.
I thought you were going to say Roy Chubby Brown is more racist than Benny Hill, and if you had said that. It'd be ironic because on Facebook the other day, an old Benny Hill sketch came up where he basically plays a horny patient on a hospital ward who's trying to get everybody's bed bath. So he sort of runs from bed to bed, changing his look by wrapping he wrap like a bandage around his head, or so the sexy nurse thinks that she's giving a bed bath to a different patient every time, until he chucks this black guy out of bed. So he blacks up, right? And then the nurse comes and throws back the sheets. And obviously, he's only blacked up his face. So she realises what's going on and storms off. It's like, my mum used to let me watch Benny Hill when I was a kid. It was, you wouldn't get away with that now. But anyway.
No.
John Murtaugh in this is absolutely brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. If you think about the character he plays in Down Among the Big Boys, where he's playing like a scary gangster, and then, in this, he's, it's regrettable that what he says about Belle, about being ripe, but otherwise, he's like he's sort of in the vein of Chick Murray's headmaster, and he's not as eccentric, I suppose, as Chick Murray's headmaster, but he's really good in this. Like the scene on Princess Street when him and his wife see Gregory and Francis on their way to the Scottish Parliament.
Yes.
Gregory's like, I was just kissing Belle a minute ago, we're kissing for ages. As he walks past. It's really good. But then I suppose we should talk about Maria Doyle Kennedy as Belle, who, I thought she's quite a good character. Maria Doyle Kennedy is from the Republic of Ireland, and her Irish accent does bubble to the surface now and then. But I don't think she did a bad Scottish accent.
I thought she was playing Irish. She wasn't playing a Scottish character.
Yes, she was.
I don't think she was. Like, her accent was Irish throughout the whole of this.
I don't think it was.
I think it was. I determined that she was playing an Irish character. in this. She wasn't playing Scottish.
Okay, well, I thought she was. Let us know what you think at home after you've watched it.
Absolutely certain that she was Irish. Meant to be Irish. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, but the confounding thing is like, I mean, I remember the first thing I ever saw Maria Doyle Kennedy in was The Commitments, when she was still Maria Doyle. She plays she plays a member of the band in The Commitments. And I remember having like a real crush on her because, you know, lovely sort of raven black hair, really lovely voice as well, and a really, really beautiful woman. Yeah, but I'd like to have seen a bit more of her character in this, you know, like, and it's really confounding why Gregory wouldn't be interested in her, you know? She's literally throwing herself at him.
Because he's been damaged by Susan, I think.
You think
and something's happened. But then also, you know, the fact he's crawling around on the floor trying to avoid her when she turns up drunk. And he's, you know, she says like he doesn't want to do anything on Saturday night. It's leading into the kind of what we said on the last episode, that Gregory is a bit socially awkward. And maybe he does have some issues in terms of being like social anxiety or something.
Yeah, but it would have been interesting to if that had been explored a wee bit, right? And her sort of helping him, that would have been a more compelling sort of story for Gregory, I think, is he's being helped, his anxieties and social awkwardness, she is helping him get over those by forming a relationship with him and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been a more compelling story than fucking torture computers and 16-year-old schoolgirl fan.
Well, what would you have come up with for a sequel to Gregory's Girl?
Right, so I've
written one.
I've got 3 very quick elevator pitches, right? So
okay. Oh, funnily enough, I have done a pitch myself, actually. So yeah. Oh, cool.
Okay. All right. Right. So I'll give you my 3. They're all along the same lines, right? So the first one is Gregory's 2 dogs. So basically, Gregory's in his mid-30s and he's desperately lonely. He goes to the animal shelter and he can't decide between a one-eyed Alsatian and a 3-legged Sharpie. Which pooch will Gregory choose? Right.
Okay.
The second one is Gregory's 2 beards. So Gregory's in his mid-30s and he's desperately lonely. So he decides to grow a beard to make himself interesting to women, but he can't decide between a goatee, a Sutcliffe, and a full blessed. Which manly facial hairstyle will Gregory choose?
That's 3 beards.
Oh, fuck. Okay, Gregory. Well, that could be the sequel to Gregory's 2 dogs. And my last one is Gregory's 2 parties, right? So Gregory's in his mid-30s and desperately lonely. His sister Maddie invites him to her 30th birthday, but a new teacher starts at school and takes a shine to Gregory. She invites him to her housewarming. Which party will Gregory choose? I think any of those would work better than the plot of Gregory's 2 Girls. But you tell me yours.
They're all good. They're all very good. I went with Gregory at 35.
Right. Is he desperately lonely?
No, he's left Cumbernauld. He's single. He's left Cumbernauld. I don't know where he's living. And it comes out that the school is being demolished.
Right.
Because Richard has bought the school and is turning it into an Asda or something like that. Right?
Okay.
Maddie's creepy wee boyfriend from the first film.
Right.
So he comes back to Cumbernauld because they're having like a big school reunion before it gets demolished and to try and save the school from being demolished.
Right.
And he meets Susan and they rekindle a little bit of romance. She has recently divorced. She split up. She ended up marrying the wee kid that was smoking a pipe in the toilet in the first film. So they split up.
He just won her over. He won her over with his gentlemanly distinguishment.
They're both single, and so the whole film, it's like almost like Grosse Point Blank. They're kind of rekindling of romance. We catch up with Madeline. She's got 3 kids to Billy the window cleaner. They hit it off after he offered her a fag outside. And to help with the battling the evil Richard, like Alan and Charlie come back from Caracas and they've set up a new life there. They got there. They've set up a new life. They've married Caracan women.
Yeah. Hundreds of ways.
And and everything's fine. And then, Stevie's sets up a bake stall to raise funds to help save the school.
That is better than the plot of the movie and my three pitches. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really good. I thought you were going to say Gregory finds out that the stack of naked pictures of the nurse that he hid away in the school are still there, and he's got they're labelled property of Gregory Underwood, and it's a race against time to retrieve them before they knock the school down. The ironic thing about your pitch is that Abram Hill High School has actually been knocked down. The school that
Oh,
they shot.
has it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, it was knocked down. There's a little that's sort of Report in Scotland video on YouTube where Claire Grogan went to the school just before it was knocked down, and they did a screening of Gregory's Girl for the older kids, and she sort of leads the report on them knocking the school down. I think it was like 2002 or something like that. So it's all new houses now.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I did think that Cumbernauld looked a little bit flaky and dirty in this film. You know, like in the original, it looked so new. And I know there's like 18, 19 years between it, but it did look a little bit kind of crumbly-ish in a way.
On its uppers.
Yeah. And only one football scene in the whole film, Greg. That's not good.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Carly McKinnon, who plays Frances, trained with Partick Thistle. I've got to be honest. I don't think she committed to it like Dee Hepburn did.
One line that made me laugh a lot was with Madeline's American boyfriend. And what he says, did William Wallace and Rob Roy get along? And Gregory is like, that's kind of like asking like if Christopher Columbus and Popeye got along.
Yeah, I mean, there are some good throwaway lines in this. There really are. That is a particularly good example of one.
So in the end, they end up in Stranraer following this van. They trash a load of computers, torture computers that we're not even sure if they are torture computers.
Yeah,
that's Gregory fucked now. Like, his teaching career is over. He's going to prison. You know, Francis does say to him, like, you know, you'll be going to prison. Like, that's him fucked.
But in Scotland at 16, you're classed as an adult. You can get married when you're 16 in Scotland. You can't in England. You have to be 18 to get married in England. That's why so many young lovers used to run away to Gretna Green to get married from that's why Ricky and Bianca in EastEnders ran away to Gretna to get married, because you can get married at 16 in Scotland. So I didn't
know that Ricky and Bianca went to Scotland. That's great. Good memory.
So I don't know. I think Gregory might have been okay as long as when Francis.
It's not about the legal age. It's about the fact that they've stolen a truck and trashed a load of computers. That's why. It's nothing to do. He didn't have sex with. I mean, he didn't kidnap her as such. Like, she could easily say, "He didn't kidnap me." I think it's more the other things.
I'm sure like a cursory examination by a police doctor would determine that Gregory hadn't been inappropriate with her anyway in the back of the truck. But I sort of think that Fraser. It would always be about whether Fraser would have pressed charges, and you sort of get the impression that he probably wouldn't have done. You know what I mean? He probably just would have made Gregory feel bad about it because the computers were supposed to be going to starving African kids. Although what starving African kids are going to do with computers is anybody's guess. You can't eat a computer. So
play Minesweeper.
Play Minesweeper or Patience. Well, it's not called Patience on the computer. It's called Solitaire, isn't it?
So do you think the follow-up would have been Gregory's 3 cellmates?
Yeah. Gregory's 3 cellmates.
It's not. Gregory tries to navigate life in the showers in the canteen, avoiding getting called a nonce and being raped on a daily basis.
I just got an image of Gordon Sinclair doing his sort of awkward Gregory walk across the canteen in the prison, holding his shit, walking diagonally. The other prisoners wonder who the fuck he is and what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, they definitely will be selling cakes in the toilets in prison, Gregory, or photos of naughty nurses.
Yeah, not those types of cake anyway.
No.
Yeah, there was one other scene that really made me laugh because it really made me think of. I mean, it just felt like such a natural thing to happen. So I remember it happening when I was at school. But the scene when in the classroom when the courier brings, he comes into the classroom with the phone for Gregory from Fraser. But as the courier comes in, all the kids just start laughing because this stranger basically, this courier's walked into the classroom. It just seemed like really sort of true to life. I can imagine the same thing happening when I was at high school. It would be like if sometimes a kid might get sent on an errand from one classroom to another classroom to pass a message to a teacher or something like that, and the kid would walk into the classroom, and it would be a kid that you would know from the playground, and everybody would just start sort of laughing. Taking the piss.
That's true, yeah. I never caught on that. It's pretty good actually. I like that.
Yeah. Maybe that felt quite true to life. So yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, would you recommend Gregory's 2 Girls?
I mean, it's quite hard to watch. You know, I think you struggle to find it on any of the usual streamers. I mean, I went into the film with an impression of it that was born out of its reputation, and it wasn't as problematic. Once, like as mentioned earlier, once we got past the fact that Francis clearly doesn't fancy Gregory, and it's all a bit of a misunderstanding on his part and everything else. You know, it's not as problematic, I don't think, as I went into it kind of prepared for. There are some great classic bits of Bill Forsyth writing in it, particularly the police interview scene with Matt Costello there as well, and Gary Lewis. I mean, that's sort of classic Forsyth, and a couple of other little touches. I think it's an interesting film to watch. I mean, it's not the sort of film you're going to come back to again and again, but, you know, I would tell people to maybe seek it out and watch it, just because just for the sort of curiosity factor of it, you know. Yeah. It has its moments. It's fucking too long. It's far too long.
Oh, far too long. Yeah.
Almost 2 hours long. It's just far too long. But you know, this, as I say, it has its moment. You'll watch it once. I don't imagine you'll come back and watch it again, you know, if you were to watch it.
Yeah, I did think that, because the first film was such a tight, like 1 hour 32 minutes, and this is nearly 2 hours. It's far too long. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff could have been cut out. Like, some storylines just don't work.
That opening scene, for example,
definitely
we could all live without that. And more Dawn Steele, I would say. I mean,
yes.
Why get Dawn Steele, who, let's just see what she was up to, and I think this was she was doing.
This would be after Monica the Glen, or around about the same time as Monica the Glen? Or?
Just before Monica the Glen,
okay.
and just before Tinseltown, which we definitely have to get hold of and do, because that was a great series with some quality Dawn Steele moments, which the young Greg enjoyed very much. So I'd like to see about, and Fiona Bell actually is really good as Maddie. I think she kind of captures. You would believe that was the Maddie from the first film. Yeah, she really gets under the skin of the character, although she's not in the film for very, very long.
I agree.
She really gets under the skin of the character. Maria Doyle Kennedy's really good, I think. I mean, even Carly McKinnon's good as Frances, I think.
I think she's great.
Yeah.
I think she's great, yeah.
Yeah. You got, and then Hugh McHugh in his dready jacket. That really fucking did the film. A dready jacket.
Yes.
That was like the uniform of the moron when I was at school. Actually, it was the uniform of the cool kids when I was at school. Anyway, so I mean, you get anything else you want to talk about for Gregory's Two Girls? Shall we whack it through the awards?
Let's do it, Greg. Why not? Let's put it through the Swally Awards. What have we got first?
So there's not really any pub scenes as such for the Bobby the Barman. There's the meal. It looks like they're up at Duck Bay at Loch Lomond. Gregory and Maddie and her American boyfriend when they're in the restaurant. I think that's Duck Bay. So we're going right to the next one. So the next one, I think we've got a few options. The Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. A few choices here.
There's 3 clear choices, and I am really interested to see which one you've gone for. So why don't you go first?
I had to pick Costello because he's sort of prolific, right?
Yeah, I think I'll pick Costello. It's between John Murtaugh, Costello, and Gary Lewis, and they all share a scene together, which is just incredible.
Yeah,
but I think I picked Costello in the end.
Okay. Next one then. To my shame, I've not written anything down for this one, and I couldn't remember one. But the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing.
There's a few. They do ramp up the swearing in this. I think it's Belle's first scene where she comes around to get Gregory to come out for sushi or something, and then she just turns around and she tells him to fuck off.
Oh yeah,
and it was just quite a good way in her Irish accent. Because she is an Irish character, it just felt good telling him to fuck off. So
okay. So the next one then, I guess it depends how you look at it, but the Ewan McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity. I mean, there's not really any nudity in the film. I went with because I just couldn't bring myself to mention that first scene. I went with Gregory and Belle in bed because she looks like her shoulders are bare, so you have to think that maybe she's got nothing on.
I think we're struggling if you're going with bare shoulders. I mean, yeah, there's no nudity at all in the film.
No, right.
So, no, I went with nothing. There's nothing at all.
The Jim McQuillan Award for gratuitous violence, the Teazout Award.
I guess it's Dimitri getting his hand smashed in the door and then Gregory poking the blood blisters under his nails. That could have lived without that.
Yeah, I just wrote down Dimitri's fingers.
Yeah.
For that, yeah. Archetypal Scottish moment.
What did you go for?
Party at a castle.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah. I went with, I had two actually. Obviously the Chileans singing Flower of Scotland. Why is it whenever I say Chileans nowadays, I want to follow up with miners? And I don't mean as in a Gregory's two-girl miners. I mean as in Chilean miners. For some reason, that's always my go-to now.
Trapped Chilean miners.
Works on both levels for this film. But what I really liked, and it was early on, when Gregory is sat at home, I think just before Francis comes round to invite him out for sushi, in a very early scene, he's sitting having a cup of tea watching Noam Chomsky, and next to him is a Tunnocks tea cake wrapper.
Yeah.
So he's obviously just had a Tunnocks tea cake and a cup of tea watching Noam Chomsky. So that was kind of, what I went for. But Party in a Castle is a good one as well.
I had a can of iron brew and a caramel wafer just before we started recording.
Oh, lovely.
Enough, yeah.
Very good.
I found that if you, because I've not been drinking iron brew for ages anyway, because obviously I'm an athlete now, but I did fancy one today, but I don't really like it out of a can, but I found if you pour it into a glass, it tastes a lot better than just straight out the can. That's my little iron brew tip for anybody listening. Alrighty, well that was, one more. So the last award then, the Big Tam Award. Who wins the film for you?
Nobody.
I mean, I gave it to Bill Forsyth just for getting the film made. I think he deserves that. I mean, it's probably the only award he's winning for the film, so I thought, let him have it.
I think John Gordon Sinclair is great. He is good in places.
It's very
there
good,
are glimpses of Gregory. And, I can't take anything away from actually most of the actors.
Yeah.
Because they do well. Carly McKinnon is great, I think, as Frances. Dougray Scott, maybe not. But, Maria Dawn Kennedy's great. Mm-hmm. Dawn Steele, great as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's a winner here, to be honest.
Nah, I don't think so. I think, it's a weird script. I think everybody's, doing a good job of work. I think John Gordon Sinclair is great. He's got great hair, John Gordon Sinclair.
Does actually, yeah.
Great hair. And he's also a wonderful actor too, I should mention.
Of course.
Anyway, so it was my choice, although it was a bit of a gift to you since you pressed on it like quite a lot. But it was my choice for our 101st episode to review Gregory's Two Girls. So that means that the bottle spins back to you. What are we watching for the next episode?
Well, the new series of this show has just landed on the BBC, Greg. So I think we should go back to the original series of the show. So I'd like to go back to the year 2000, and I'd like us to look at the first episode of a show based on the books of Ian Rankin and starring John Hannah. It is Rebus. And I'd like to look at the first episode, which is entitled Black and Blue.
Wonderful. I don't remember. I did watch a few of the Ken Stotts. Don't think I watched John Hannah doing Rebus.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. Like, if I'm honest, I'd rather just jump into a Ken Stott one because I want to see Ken Stott on screen. I love Ken Stott. But
yeah, me too.
My kind of OCD continuity won't allow me, so we need to go to the first episode and look at John Hannah's Rebus, because I think there's a lot to talk about that show as well. So,
brilliant.
Black and Blue Rebus, it is available online. I think it's on Daily Motion, if any of our listeners want to watch it before listening to the next episode. So we'll see. So that is what we're doing on the next episode of the Culture Swally. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to get in touch, you can. You can email us on cultureswally@gmail.com. And if you want to send in anything you want us to cover or any news stories you've seen, then please get in touch. You can follow us on the socials. We're on Insta @cultureswallypod, or we are on X, formerly known as Twitter, @swallypod. And we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
We do. You can find us at at cultureswally.com for links to all the episodes, some blog posts, an article or two, nice pictures, and you can contact us straight through the social, the website too.
Fantastic. Right. Well, have a wonderful week, Greg.
I will.
I will speak to you very soon. And well, there's no point in saying if I don't see you through a week, I'll see you through a window, because it doesn't happen in this film. So I guess I'll just say, till next time.
Till next time.
Hello.
Belle, it's me. I need your car. I can't explain, but I need your car.
You can have it for a shag.
What now?
Afraid so. On delivery.
I've hardly got any time. Like 15 minutes tops.
Twice as long as you needed last night.
You're absolutely right. Okay, well, come on, open the door.
Oh, you get in first, son. You're in a hurry.
Right, thanks.